Okay. Okay, would you just begin the Gemara, and then we'll do Tosis. We'll get back to Tosis eventually. Okay, we're discussing the halacha that if a person brings a get, maybe this hayam from overseas, the shliach, the agent, has to say b'fonei nechtam. It was written in my presence, and it was signed in my presence. So, first, what is the value of saying that? It was written in my presence. The writing of the get, that definitely has to do with lishma. It was signed in my presence, that means it's not a forgery. My time, what is the value of saying funny enough? The Rabbi Omar, the fish ain't became lishma. Because the scribes in Medina Sayyam or outside of Israel, they're not fully proficient in the halacha that a get has to be written specifically for the couple, for the man and the woman. You could have an identical get with all the identical information. If it was not written specifically for them, it's not a valid get. And as I said, it's not only being written for them, it has to be authorized by the husband before the writing begins. Like I said, Gemara later in the second parak speaks about a case. A sofa was aware that because of the relationship with husband and wife, they've been fighting and arguing, they're going to come for a get. And he knows he has all the information in advance. And he preempts them, he writes the get. If they arrive, he says, I prepared it already. But he was never authorized to write it initially. It's not a valid get. He has to be authorized by the husband to write the get. If he's not, it's not valid. So definitely, if it was written for someone else, definitely it's not valid. So because Sofrim are not proficient in Lishma, Tosas asks a question. I mean, there are many halachas which invalidate a get. What happened? What's the halacha? If a person writes a get, it's a shayla halacha in Shulchan Aruch. You could write a get on a branch, and after he writes the get on the branch, he cuts the branch off and gives it to the woman. You write a get on the horn of a cow, and then you cut the horn off and give the woman the horn. It's not valid. What about if you write the get on the horn and you give the woman the whole cow? It's valid. It's valid. Why? Because the Torah says, "V'kosa v'nosan." You must write it and give it. There should be no interruption between the writing and the giving. So if you write it on the horn, then you have to cut the horn off before you give it to her. So there's an interruption between the writing and the giving. That's why it's not valid. Same thing with the branch. You cut it, you write it on the branch, and you have to sever it from the tree. There's an interruption between the kosa and nosan. It's not valid. But if you give the whole animal, you write the get on the hide of the animal and give the whole animal, it's a valid get because it's the kosa and nosan. Okay.
How about if you cut the tree with the branch still on it?
Did you cut the tree before or after?
After.
So it's a problem.
It's the same thing as cutting the branch, isn't it?
What color is George Washington's white horse? Okay. It's obvious, I'm what you're saying. Okay. Okay. So Tosas asks, why are we only, if we're concerned they're not proficient in the laws of the Shema, there's many other laws which pertain to the get, and maybe they're not proficient in that either. So I mean, by saying it was written Lishma, how does it address all the other issues which invalidate a get? There are many other criteria that have to be met. I just want to say, well, we're machmir, which is cited in Shulchan Aruch. Let's say today they don't write a get on parchment. They write it on parchment paper, something which has the similar texture as parchment. It's not klav. So very often they have a long roll of paper. So let's say we'd write it on the long roll and then cut it off the long roll. Same problem. It's kosav, it has to be v'nosan. If he would write it and give her the whole roll, even though you could write many other, there are another, I don't know how much more papers on the roll, it's not a problem. But if he writes it on that roll and then cuts it off the roll, it's not valid. So there's a whole discussion. I mean, in Shulchan Aruch, they speak in Gemara Gitten. Very often, after you write a get, sometimes you write something, you trim the margin. You trim it. It's not necessary. You don't have to, but you want the get to have a certain form. It should be the margin should be even, whatever it be. And the sofa wants to trim it. Shouldn't be trimmed. Should not be trimmed. The evidence is valid. because that was only to beautiful to whatever is for the aesthetic of the get, to where the get looks, whatever it is. But we machmir. Once you write the get, it should be given immediately. There should be no other thing should be done to that piece of paper other than give it to the woman. So Tosas asks, so why are we really concerned about lishmo? What about all the other criteria you have to meet to validate that the get should be valid?
Isn't that included?
No. Only lishmo. Lefi shein became lishmo.
In the umbrella of Lishma.
No. It has no relevance to lishmo. There are other laws. So Tosas answers, regard to all the other laws, even the Sofrim Chutz Loretz, the Medina Sayyam, that, of course, that's almost explicit. But the Lishma aspect, it's something which is not so simple. And because it's not so simple, so they would gloss over that. So because this area was the most, which was neglected, that's the reason. The Gemara says the majority of Sofrim, even the Medina Sayyam, were fully proficient in this. But there was a minority, so because of the minority, therefore Machmir, and because, again, the Gemara is going to conclude, factually, it's not a concern. We don't want the husband to make trouble. It's called Motzi Laz. We don't want him to be able to say anything, to even cast any dispersion on the get. That maybe the get wasn't written right. Eretz Yisrael, he says it wasn't written Lishma. We say, impossible. He wouldn't even attempt to say that. It's impossible, because every sofer is fully professional Lishma, proficient. Chutz Loretz, there are some sofer that are not. He'll say, it was one of those. That's what he's going to say. So to cover that, to avert that, to prevent that, the shlich, when he comes and he delivers the get, this is not one of those. This get was written full of lishma, so that comment he cannot make about this get. No, they say it. If you ever go to get what goes on, the back and forth, do you appoint him on this and that? And the sofer says, I'm writing it for so-and-so and so-and-so. This is there's a dialogue between the husband and the wife. The husband, the wife, and the sofer, and the Edom witness this. The witnesses, everybody, they witness all this going on.
They witness the writing of the get.
He's there. If it's going to be delivered, the witnesses. Everything. Of course.
They witness him writing it for them.
Definitely. The sofer, before he has a whole thing, he reads off to the husband and wife. Do you authorize me to write this get on your behalf and your wife? And they goes over it, and your name is Shlomo, and your name is Rachel, and your name is Solomon, who's called Sal, who's called Sally. They go every conceivable name, because that all goes into the get. And then they say her, whatever her name, with all her references of names, and then he repeats it again, and they say yes, and back and forth, and this is all done in presence of witnesses. Because the witnesses have to witness that they're authorizing and to make sure the information is correct information. And then the sofer, that's when he starts writing the get.
So, Rabbi, why, if a messenger agent is delivering the get to a faraway place, why isn't the hipsik there considered? We said there's got to be no interruption.
No.
So why is that not
Because it's the okay, Howard, what would you say?
I'd say in the writing, not in the delivery.
At the time. The get is complete.
It's just because of the, meaning after it's written, it has to be deliverable.
Right.
That means the get has to be deliverable.
not delivered?
Not delivered, right.
Deliverable.
Deliverable, right, correct.
So what does constitute a hipsik? If a 6-week trip...
It could be 10 years.
10 years,
Not a problem. That's not a problem. Because factually, if whenever I decide, it could be given immediately. If the person would be here, it could be given immediately. It's not because the get cannot be delivered. The get is deliverable.
The get is followed.
What?
The get is
No,
followed.
it's effective because she's only divorced when you put it in her hand. Right? Of course, that's understood.
So what is considered a hipsik?
I gave you the example. You have to cut the branch off the tree. You have to cut the horn off the...
Because it's not deliverable
At that moment.
At that moment. That's the difference.
Correct.
Rabbi, how come there is a need for only one witness and not two witnesses?
The Gemara is going to ask that. The Gemara is going to ask... The Gemara has even a better question. How do you even believe one witness? Torah says anything less than two...
Yes.
The Gemara is going to ask the question in a moment. Okay?
There are other instances of essay, or you said if someone is focused on something the whole time, it's not considered essay. Something if someone is focused on cleaning up the get, ordering the get the whole time,
That has to do with the writing. The kosav and nosam. Yeah, we're not talking about mind. We're not talking about the level of consciousness you have. The lishma is something else. It has to be written specifically for this couple. And has to be authorized by the husband. Okay, so Rabbah says, what's the reason why the shliach must say for nechtam? Because we're concerned about lishma. Because the sofrim in Chutz La'aretz, in Medina Sayyam, are not proficient. They're not sensitive to this. That's Rabbah. Rabbah Omar, right? The difference between Rabbah and Rabbah is the Hey or an Aleph. Rabbah Omar, Lefisha Ein Eidim Mitzuyim L'Kaimo. Because you have to substantiate the get. So, if you bring it from overseas, and there's a question regarding the validity of the get, whether it was a forgery or not, how are you going to substantiate the get? Right? If it's in the same community, you can locate the witness where they're, the Gemara is going to say, Shayoras Mitzuyos, the caravans traveling back and forth. So even if you can't locate the witness themselves, it's inevitable you locate someone who recognizes the signatures, because they know the people. They've seen the people sign. But if it's Medina Sayyam, how are we supposed to locate people, the people themselves, or people even recognize the signatures? So his statement is the equivalent of substantiating the get. So if anything should come up now, the get already has been confirmed not to be a forgery.
You're not worried about Pekin or anything else, right? It's not worried about
No, it's not concerned Pekin.
So Rabbah's not
Correct.
concerned about the Shema then.
Because he says the sofer, they're sufficiently proficient, it's not a concern.
He was never. So
Of course, we're going to see, even according to the conclusion, even Rabbah agrees. The vast majority sofrim also. It's only because that slight minority, because mostly even according to a mayor, who's chashin lemiuto, it's such a small minority. It's not. It's purely laz, because we don't want the husband to have anything to say. There shouldn't be any dispersion cast on the get. Okay.
What about if a witnesses the writing and signing, but the delivery is done by another witness?
Again. You have to have two witnesses who sign. If you don't have two witnesses who sign on the get's not a valid get. Okay? So good. The one who's delivering it, he could be the same as one of the witnesses. It could be a third party.
Well, it could be a third party.
Of course, it could be a 10th party. It's irrelevant. He was there when it was written and was signed, and he was asked that he should be the agent. So factually, he's qualified. Since he's aware that it was written, the Shema, and it's not a forgery, so he's qualified to be appointed as agent, because when he goes, he will make this statement.
But if he's not a witness of the signature and the
Then he's not
writing,
qualified to deliver it.
But the people, the real witnesses told him that it was done.
It's not sufficient. Not sufficient. Not sufficient. Okay. Because you're not able to locate witnesses to substantiate the get. So Rashi says, take a look. Ein sheyors mitzuyas mishom lekan. There are no sheyors, means the caravans don't travel from this far-off place to this location. Shebiyova bal v'yarir. If the husband should come and contest, lomar lo kasaftiv, he'll claim I never wrote the get. Shu edim mitzuyim lahakir chasimas edim. And we're not able to locate witnesses who will be able to substantiate the get that it's an authentic get. To counter the husband's claim. You have to substantiate, you have to verify the signatures are not forgeries. So where do I get witnesses? Nobody recognizes these signatures. Ve'minua l'shliach, and they believe the shliach, that he's the equivalent of witnesses, he substantiates it. Will come a porach, the Gemara will ask. Bein l'rov liboy trey, but you need two witnesses. How do you believe one witness? That's going to be the Gemara's question. But there's a Rashi before when he says, according to Rabbah, he doesn't say lishma. He said fani nechtam, fani nechtav. He should say fani nechtam lishma. Right? I mean, it's a question. If it's because of lishma, so what does it say lishma? So Rashi says over here that after he says fani nechtam, we'll see he delivers the get. Let's say in the presence of three people, which is equivalent of a bezdin. When he gives the woman, so he says. Hilkoch, Amashlip Fanefani Nechtam, Umimelo Shailinle. Tosus argues with us. And when he says that, they ask him, what do you mean when you say it was written and was signed before you? They ask him, Im nichtav lishmo, do you mean to say it was written lishmo? He says yes. So Rashi learns they must ask him. Although he doesn't say the word lishmo, they must ask him. Tosas learns differently. Tosas, we don't find anywhere we ask him any question. The presumption is what has to be addressed. This is the only issue that has to be addressed. Every other area, the Sofrim are fully provisioned. So what is he saying? It's understood. What he's saying, what he means to say is lishmo. He doesn't have to say it. So the Gemara ask later, so what does he say it already? They should enact, they should legislate the law when you deliver it. You say it clearly. Vani nechtav, lishmo. So what does he say it? So the Gemara says, because what happens if he forgets to say the word lishmo? So it comes out it's not a valid. If it's based on, we understand what you mean, and he doesn't say the word, he doesn't have to say the word. But if the way they enacted it, he has to say it, he doesn't say it, then it's a problem. Although we know what he meant, but you do not say it the way it was meant to be said.
They have to say b'fanei nechtav, b'fanei nechtav. They have to say that in order to validate.
Not they, one
witness.
the shliach,
Yeah.
correct? He has to say
They
that.
have to say that.
Correct.
So then we worry that the failure to say that one word will be validated.
We'll see, the Gemara says, according to Reb Meir, because it says, Kol ha-mishad ma'beir shetovu chacham avlad mamzer. Even on a Torah level, but rabbinically, we're going to invalidate the get, the child's going to be a mamzer. So to avoid that, we prefer it should be more concise, right? Because he may leave out a word. One second. My benayu. I'll tell you, we've just finished Kedushin a few days ago. Understand? If you'd come every day, we'd be in the third parak. Okay. My benayu. So what's the halachic difference between Rab and Rava? If the reason why I say Fonefan is it because of Lishma, or is it to substantiate the get? My benayu, Ika benayu dashu beitrei. What about if two people are appointed to be witness agents to deliver the get? You have two witnesses. So if they're delivering the get, they themselves were appointed as a shliach by the husband. So what could the husband say? Could the husband say it's a forgery? Can't say it's a forgery. They themselves were appointed as agents of the husband to deliver the get. So if you say the reason is why you have to make that statement is because the husband could claim it's a forgery. So if you have two witnesses, no, but he can't claim it's a forgery. You have two witnesses. But if it's question lishma, fact l'chutzlor, the sofer is not proficient lishma, so they still have to attest to the fact that it was written lishma. Okay? So if they're two, if the reason is according to Rava, they have to say nothing. If the concern is, as Rabbah said, lishma, even if you have two, they have to say fonei nechtam, that it was written lishma. Okay? Beitrei. So again, Rashi says something here which Tosas has difficulty with. Dasyu beitrei, ushneim nasu shluchim legarsha. Both these individuals were appointed to be agents to divorce. Vaget yotzim tachsi deishneim. The Rabbah boy lememer. According to Rabbah that the concern is lishma, they have to say the Rabbah boy lememer. Why? Shri shnaime, because the two witnesses. And if the husband should come to contest the validity of the get, we're going to locate them and they'll counter his statement. You know what Rashi says? When they deliver it, because they're two, since they're mitzuyin, they're available, so if the husband should come, we'll be able to draw on their testimony. So Tos says, we keep them under confinement. These witnesses. After they deliver what? They don't have to stay in the community. They could travel elsewhere. Let's say the husband contests the get in 3 months from now. They deliver it January 1st. The husband contests it on March 1st.
Everybody knows there's two witnesses.
The Rashi said mitzuyim. He says if the husband should come in, contest the get, harahim mitzuyin. They're available to substantiate it. Where are they available? So says, do we keep them bekipa? Do we keep them under lock and key in confinement? We don't. So what's Rashi saying? Now, so the answer is, again, the husband doesn't know where the witnesses are. A man's not going to put himself in a position that he's going to make a claim which is a baseless claim. He'll make a fool out of himself. If witnesses come and deliver it, he doesn't know where to witness it. Since witnesses are available, he's not even attempt to say something which is not true. Understand? So as long as two witnesses come, we are agents of the husband. And the husband knows that. Later they'll come and say, well, I never appointed the agents. Does he know where these people? He doesn't know where they are. As a result of that, he wouldn't even attempt to invalidate the get to claim that it's a forgery.
Rabbi, if two witnesses come and they give testimony, this is when two come, it's testimony, correct? It's not just a casual statement. Why is it that if the husband comes later...
No, wait. They don't testify. No. When two deliver it, they don't say a word.
What agent?
No, two people, they deliver the get.
They don't say funny enough.
They say nothing. They don't say funny for the nechtam.
Okay.
They don't say it was written now in presence.
Okay.
They just deliver the get.
Powerful.
Two witnesses. So we say, what's the value?
No one's going to fight against two witnesses.
Exactly, but that's only if they're present. So Rashi says, well, we'll call them.
Good.
If the husband should come. So says, and if you can't locate them,
Husband knows if they're there.
they may not be there.
Yeah, but
But again,
Right.
they may be there. And if they may be there, it's like Tosis says regarding Migu, this Tosis and Ksubas, that believe me on this because I could have said something else. What about if whatever else he would say, he would look like a fool? Well, people don't say the other thing. You could say it, but people won't. That's not a Migu. It's not value. It's not valid. It doesn't give any strength to what you're saying now. I could have said something better. You could have, but that's only if you would have. Let's say you wouldn't have, because it would have reflected badly on you. If it would have reflected badly, it's not a valid migu. Same thing over here. We're not sure we'll be able to locate the witness, but that's something the husband doesn't know. And because the husband doesn't know that, he's not going to attempt to make trouble.
Just if the sages require a single messenger to make a declaration, I would say call the form. Why wouldn't they require...
It's not necessary. It's not necessary. A single witness, we can't locate the original people to substantiate the get.
Coming from abroad.
Okay. So the one witness, he substantiates it. So normally testimony of one witness is not accepted. Here, as the Gemara will discuss, we accept his. But if two witnesses deliver it, so if a husband could counter the one witness, the one person, he could counter him. It's one against one. So we have to give him, when he makes that statement, he assumes the status of two when he makes that statement. Two, they don't have to make a statement to give them the status of two. They are two. So if the husband should come, it's 2-1. 2-1, the husband is totally ignored.
I understand that, but that's... If we're trying to make sure that there's closure when a get is delivered, so we don't leave open loose ends to create...
That's what it says. If the concern is he may claim it's a forgery, when you have two people, it's not a concern.
To avoid that, why wouldn't the Chazal have insisted that the two make a declaration?
It's not necessary. It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
The only reason is the husband may come. The husband's not coming. Definitely the husband's not coming. If two people deliver a get, the husband's not coming.
But he might come later.
He won't come later.
The two have dispersed, they've gone...
That's Tosa's question on Rashi.
For
So I'm explaining to you why. Because the husband, knowing that he appointed two witnesses, he's not coming because he doesn't know where those... He knows the two witnesses delivered it. That he knows. He knows she's in possession of a get. Does he know where those witnesses are today? He doesn't know where they are. They may have left an address. If there's trouble, you call us. The husband's not going to put himself in a position where he's going to look bad. If he can make trouble and nobody's going to be able to counter him, he's going to make trouble. So therefore, a single witness has to establish himself as two.
Without declaring this, what David's saying, without them declaring, it could be two FedEx guys delivering the get who never witnessed anything. So how do we know?
They just say we're agents. We're agents of the husband.
Right, so without them declaring,
That's all. They're not saying before. They don't say it was written in front of us. It was signed in front of us. That statement they're not saying. They just say we are agents.
Right.
So if we are agents, if the husband asked us to deliver that, evidently it's not a forgery. So evidently it's not a forgery. Like Tosis has a question. Maybe he had a get written and he intentionally put Adam Psulin. He had non-valid witness sign on the get. So as a result of that, you may be agents, but you know what you delivered? You delivered a get which wasn't valid. Right? He says that we're not concerned. We're not concerned. The husband's going out of his way to have non-valid witnesses sign on the get to really destroy her life. He's just going to make trouble. He'll make a comment. That's all he's going to do. He's not going to go out of his way to do something illegal. That's illegal.
Rabbi, if they're concerned about the husband making trouble, messing with the woman. So, if he sends one agent, if one agent arrives, makes this declaration, and sometime later the husband comes back and says, I never did it, he wasn't my agent, and he basically...
No, he's not saying it wasn't his agent. He's not saying it was...
Whatever he wants
Yeah,
to
whatever
say,
he said. We'll say whatever he said.
wants to say.
Once that agent makes that statement, as Chazal say he should say it, he's the equivalent of two witnesses.
And therefore we don't hear what the husband said.
Right, we totally ignore him.
Which is a question we'll get to. Why it is that
Right,
one
correct.
person says that.
Okay.
But if the Chazal wanted to make sure that this is signed and sealed and airtight, if they would have the two witness example, the two messenger example come and make them make a declaration, then it's completely sealed. You have two witnesses who attest it. Now the husband can come back and say whatever he wants. We don't even hear what he says.
No, let's talk. No, it's even better. What about he can't find an agent who's in the travel who saw the signing of the signing of the get, writing and signing, and he wants to send it with two messengers to be his agents.
Witnesses.
No, they're just his agents.
But they never even saw.
They never saw. He gave me. He says, "Take this get, deliver it." It does work. Two people work. That's exactly it.
But what do they know? They just delivered a piece of paper.
No, the husband. No, the whole claim is it's a forgery. How could it be a forgery? He gave it to us. If the husband gave us a get to deliver, how could it be a forgery? A forgery means somebody else written it. Was never had any relevance to the husband. If it's a forgery, how did we deliver something which the husband gave us to deliver?
They don't know it's a forgery.
The husband himself. If a person is a borrower and he gives the lender himself, he gives the lender the document when he takes the money, could he come and we have witnesses that he gave the document? Is there even a consideration that he could claim it's a forgery? If it's a forgery, but how did you gave the document yourself to the lender?
If you have a bad guy, the husband forged a get.
There's no forging. If he wrote the get, it's not a forgery.
No one's going to believe the husband.
He's not going to forge witnesses' names. That's like hiring, commissioning non-valid witnesses to sign on the get. We're not concerned about that.
The husband hired a get.
He won't do that. That we said, because otherwise that's Tos's question. Tos's question is, even if we have two, maybe he had the get written and he had non-valid witnesses sign on the get, like you're saying. So Tos says we're not concerned he's going to do something that's illegal. That he won't do. He'll only cast aspersion on the get. But if he appointed these two people to deliver, what is he going to say? He gave him something which wasn't correct. So what did he give it to? So that he's not going to say. Right? All he'll say is, it came from somewhere else. I don't know who delivered. Who even sent the man? The whole thing's a forgery. And if the man says I'm a shliach, we don't believe him. He'll say I don't know who delivered. He said, well, Yaakov delivered the get. I don't know who Yaakov is. The get was forged and then it arrived there somehow. But if Yaakov says that's like two witnesses attesting to that fact, he can't. We totally discount anything he says. To be continued.